let's continue now, and this is really important.
Hey, welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Monday morning in New York, Monday afternoon here. A wet, miserable day in London. So nothing better to do than scalp the New York Open to cheer ourselves up. We've had some nice small wins in the Euro Open in London on DAX, which was had a massive move in the Asian session and kind of continued into Euro and then pulled back all the way for London. It's quite nice, and now we're looking to see if US 30 does the same in about 9-10 minutes time into Bloomberg. Well, and also today we had a nice win on the cable trade on our Asian setup. We got about 10 pips on the buy at 8:30 down to our blue zone. Just got in. Didn't get in the trade until I'd seen a red RSI, and then got out as soon as it clipped blue zone. So sometimes you can get 20-30 pips on this, but we just went for 10. It was nice and easy. So that was a nice win on cable today. I try and trade this on a regular basis now, the cable trade, if the setup looks good. And as you can see from the Asian in London, it was a good setup, so we traded the reverse. That was nice. But it's even better if you can use the RSI and stochastic as your guide as to when to take the trade. We know what direction we want to go in, but to eliminate any false breakouts, use the RSI and stochastic. That's quite handy, and that was a nice win. US 30, as you can see, did a nice W. Here, it's a beautiful new pattern right from London. This is the kind of pattern we like to latch onto, and you can see it all pivoting around our neutral zone. You can see it's actually already double topped out, so this is forming nicely. Retested the zone already. Hasn't really done that second leg. Kind of came down a little bit. Now is this going to be a second leg from here, coming down to a neutral, blow through our breakout, or are we continuing in the bullish momentum? That was it. That was sell off. Market is really strong. Zoom out. See what happened during the end of Friday, then the start of the Asian session. Massive pullback to regain all his losses. I mean, basically within an hour or so before Tokyo opened, US 30 got back all its losses from the Friday, and then in our breakout zone did a retest, broke our breakout zone, and did a retest again on this W that we're looking at. So are we going higher? Are we going to break this blue zone and heavy resistance so that we're going back up as we see previous levels? All that bad news last week. Bear market talking about took over. So been sure to climb back. The upside, but also downside, we can come back and retest and break. If it breaks our breakout zone, we're going down to our support zone. If it breaks that, then we're going down to our minor support zone. The way I see it, at the moment we're tucked nicely.
I think it's a discussion from the past. What's really happening in semiconductor manufacturing is not an issue of labor. It's
tucked in a wedge. Two trend lines, really banging its head, not going anywhere. So the open might give us a little cheeky sell down below our baseline. We've got 25 pip, 250 pip points we can try and grab from that. We are going to kind of form a better second leg M, vice versa. It swings up, breaks, we'll get a buy to our resistance zone breakout again, 20. We're not going to be looking for 10, so that's more than enough. Or then we get a pullback sell. So this would be the best option, is we get a shoot up, we get a catch a buy, and then we catch a sell, wait for the market to see what it does. If it's going to then try and break and retest, pop down. So that's the plan.
that generate free cash flow every 90 days.
Well, that
to
would be
chart
nice.
reports.
See,
You're
the market
a competitor,
deliver what we want, as we
you're
know.
a friend, you're an enemy, you're
Justin is joining me from the States again. Good.
Live from California. Nice gloomy day in the San Fernando Valley.
Fernando, wicked.
Hopefully the sun comes up and burns the stuff off, but it's starting out a little overcast. Nice winds on gold coming out of, we're actually starting the London session, a nice little rise up, and then a nice little pullback right before New York bell ring. And it looks like we formed the M, now we're fixing to go back up. But it's a nice little correction from the London gains.
Yeah, it was a nice M, wanted a nice double top, came up, retapped it.
Thank you so much for being with us. The CEO of
Those are the types of signals we look for.
So many debates right now having to do with
We're back to our neutral zones, just got to be careful hanging around here. Pushing back. Precise still red, it's not green. Stochastic's green, size not. Gonna pull back on average line. So we'll keep watching gold as well. And we've got 3 minutes to go. This candle, the last candle now counting down for the open. This is what I like to see. I like to see it pulling back, look. So we've got more of a gap. If there's a buy, sell, then it's a continuation of this second leg. A weird one, right, bounced off the trend line. So get ready everybody, we've got 2 minutes, 2:30 to go. At the moment RSI is grey, Stochastic's red, looking good. Again, if we just try and catch some pips, bounce, up and then down. And again, if you're unsure, just wait for the break, wait for it to break the trend line either way, either the trend lines, and then take the trade if you're really unsure.
35 on the S&P now, up almost 1%. And the euro, we haven't talked enough about the euro bounce.
You're not going to get my respect till you quote the Dow.
Oh, well, we'll work on that. But I can say that the Dow
6 on the euro USD. Now we're missing the trend line. Are we going to have? Is it going to force it through on this open?
Or not here, perhaps in New York City. This is Bloomberg Surveillance in Davos.
1 minute to go. Loaded up. We're starting with 3,600. Back to our 3,000 account. Won a bit this morning, hence we're just over. So 3,000 is what I kind of want to start the week with. Let's see what we can gain from that. Leverage is 1 to 500 today, and we're on IC markets. Goes and 1 minute to go. See, jumping. Oh,
Yeah, we're in a, that's going to be a center leg, and we're right around that neutral support. So I'm kind of sitting out on this one. I just want to watch it and see what my next play is going to be.
so I'll see if US 30 spikes and breaks. Let's look, it's already spiked down. Will it now fill it on the open, or is it going to be a zoom straight up retest? So then we cancel buys. Let's get ready. 30, 4.5, 5 lots for me.
It helps people
8 second
how other cultures
that RSI just gone red is continue.
It just brings out the kind of humanity in all of us.
Move coming.
There are times when I have observed leaders
Red, nice, it went bright red.
Language that is inhumane while talking about other human beings, while talking about the world. And I think to myself, this person has clearly never engaged in beautiful poetry.
Profit there.
Listened.
35.82, so about $50 on that first move.
Great playwright. They've never
managed to get trade away. They clicked 4 times, but execution.
because they had been really educated, had they really been exposed to the arts, they wouldn't find it
any more.
possible to use this
And yes, so we got another
Bloomberg has
2.
enhanced search on the terminal
Brilliant.
to deliver
So
what you need
51, 31, and
Now,
35. So
type phrases in everyday
nearly
English with the
$200
command line.
there. Great.
Compare financials. Find people. Analyze markets. You can enter phrases.
And it took me out of the trade because I had it preset for 80 to 100
What's it
pips
you
per
want to
trade.
know today?
As you can see, the gap
Ask a question
hit the
or
points of
search
interest
around
line,
and
so that's
find
where I want to
answers
be
now.
at. So minor support, so now we could get a bounce. Look at the RSI ranging around, you see. We've got that initial move as a sort of breakthrough and flash red. Now we'll see if we're going to push down lower or whether this is a bounce up. So just wait and check and see. We've got 1 minute left on this candle. Hoping it wants to push down some more.
You will put
Bounce.
orbit on Mars. You will bring
Size
forth global
38.
cooling. Because when you subscribe to Bloomberg, you won't just get news. You will get insight into limitless possibilities.
Yeah,
Before
brilliant.
you
We've just
choose
got
the
another
world
one
to
there.
Bloomberg.
Excellent. We've got another 31.85. $2. Again on the sell.
Moments away from the open in New York City, we are broadcasting live from the World Economic
Watching the
Forum.
RSI is 38. Stochastic is nice and wide.
Pair issues he's trying to work out. We are seeing fewer issues in
Is
the
it going to
market
pull
here.
back
We see,
now off that?
as they head to the open,
Wait for the
0.4%
pullback. You see,
gain in the Nasdaq.
bounce, going to bounce on the trend. Hasn't broken the trend line there. You've got 30 seconds left. Always be cautious, and that's why I get in.
Its gains versus the dollar, breaking a streak that had been highly painful and talking about.
That's 4 trades
Moving beyond that
from the
to a
open.
possible tightening
4
that is
winners
sooner
on
than
the
some
way.
people expected from the ECB.
30, that's good.
10-year stability there, 2.82% yield.
We're only
4 basis points.
2 minutes into the
Yields
trading.
up, as we see a little bit of a risk-on move here, and then in crude as well.
Gold's a little slow, but kind of expected that being right around that neutral support.
Oh dear Lord.
Get at the NASDAQ.
Honey, you're in Davos.
I clap, you know, the Chinese Party Congress, they clap
All
differently.
right, let's head back
Chinese
to New
Party.
York. Save us. Abigail Doolittle is taking a look at which stocks are on the move. Abigail.
Hi, Lisa. Good morning to you. And yes, lots of stocks here moving
Sat on
the
that
open.
points of
And
interest,
on
is
this Monday,
waiting for
we
it to
do
see
have
if
a
it
bit of
breaks that
M&A
now.
flare. As you've been reporting, we do, of course, Bloomberg has learned that VMware is considering, or excuse me, Broadcom is considering.
Not expecting gold to move very well until Fed Bostic speaks later.
Yeah, like you say, it's forming a nice W. So we could get this nice bounce back.
Still wanting to
Hold.
diversify its businesses. You can see VMware soaring and Broadcom down about 3.5%. Twitter down 1.5%.
Again, just wait for the RSI to break that average line. And wait for stochastic to go red. Look, it's curling down now. Would be a nice cheeky sell on gold coming.
Discount, or roughly $33 billion. Tesla down
Said look,
1.3%. This
US 30 is just ranging around there on that
one-day
trend
basis
line.
are going to remain.
Took those nice sells. Let's just see what happens if it's going down further.
Last week's rebound for stocks. Maybe folks just needed to see that technical bear market happen, at least briefly, to get some of the dip buyers
Kind
out.
of the
With
second,
Microsoft up 0.7%.
proper kind of second leg end. If you
JP Morgan up
it disjoint.
2.8%. This is JP
Kind of how
Morgan.
it's done it.
CEO Jamie Dimon is, of course, at their investor day. Occidental Petroleum just flipping negative. Oil up not so much, so a little bit of weakness there. And then finally, on monkeypox fears, we have lots of vaccine makers across the board higher, including Sarepta Therapeutics, Tom. Right now up 1%. It had been earlier in the
positions.
pre-market up
Yeah,
more than
just
20%. Let's see as trading goes on if we continue to see bigger bids there for some of the vaccine makers, Tom.
say you look at the RSI. On the RSI to break below our average line, and then you can take the sell once it goes red and curls down. Then you know you're taking the sell on gold. Till then, don't do anything. Can't buy because you're banging your head against there, and it's too risky to take the sell in case it ranges along here for a while. So wait on gold. Then you can measure the potential turn. Again, remember, get 10 pips on this.
Tesla's linkage to a bid for Twitter. How much does that continue as we move away, perhaps, of the deal going through?
Wait for confirmation. Don't jump into it because we know RSI can bounce off our average, and as it's up again, plastic can open up and stay green. You know, it looks a nice setup for a sell, but it's not there yet.
Although he would do it a little bit differently.
20 seconds left.
All right.
Did you see Elon doing that?
I I think that he would do it in a different way. Perhaps he'll do it in the metaverse with hair that doesn't blow around.
That's true. James Athey joins us now, senior investment strategist at Aberdeen Standard, with a very smart note out. And what was important about this research note is the sobriety of now what? James, now what?
Break.
I wanted to talk about digital hair, to be honest, Tom. I mean, I'm sadly
541 locked down.
with the wind
Quite a
problems that you
theme.
seem to be. Augmented reality, is that the answer?
Oh, I can see why you want to talk about digital hair. Continue, wise guy.
Mine is on the
30.
wrong place on my face.
Now pushing up, look, there you go, RSI now.
We've moved, in a number of markets, we've moved pretty rapidly in a similar direction
line.
for a good number of weeks, and we've actually managed to traverse a pretty big distance. I mean,
See if it bounces the trend line, carries on up.
Even relative to history,
Now again, with RSI really to
particularly strong
make
with
up
good
that
reasons.
line there.
It's no surprise to me that
Average
maybe we
line.
took a pause. You know, with Mohammed El
Dip down again.
last week, he was
Doing
talking about a trade, buying certain equities as a trade, high beat
range
as a
around.
trade. And I don't think he was wrong.
Class this as a
Maybe
sell
that's
for the
already
open.
played out.
It was
It already
definitely
looks to me that the
dip
bounce
down.
of
It was all
equities is
either way,
pitiful,
but
really, in terms of
direction
magnitude,
it went
in
on
terms
that
of,
open.
you know, vociferousness, and really treasuries likewise. They're flirting around 280, which I think is a pretty key level. Technically, it looks like
Gold.
shoulders has formed here, but more
Again,
to the point, there's been a huge
that's
amount
it
of
red,
selling,
so that's one
and yields
tick.
really can't even get back to
RSI has not
3%
broke the
level,
average
3%.
yet, so hang in here. This
Five-ish
in
was the high in the last
potential.
cycle, and I think underlying
No.
conditions are much, much worse now, economically and in many other ways. To me, it's not a huge surprise if we can't get up there.
But James, to me, what's so important here, and you mentioned it, is the dollar's resilience. When you fit the pieces together to get to a constructive outcome, most people assume dollar weakness. How do we affect dollar weakness?
It's true, Tom. People do associate the two. It's essentially the world needs a weak dollar. At least the financial market feels like it needs a weak dollar to generate this sort of buoyant risk appetite and attitude. And there are some good reasons for that. I think economically, I would kind of disagree. I think a weak dollar is a not particularly stable equilibrium in normal times, because most of the rest of the world is running a huge current account surplus. They're relying on external demand rather than internal demand, and therefore a stronger currency is a big headwind for them. The US does not suffer on the flip side with a strong dollar. It's a consumer, it's a deficit region, and the strong dollar isn't such an economic problem. For financial markets, though, we know the world is a dollar borrower. We know that essentially the world trades as if it's short dollars, and when that gets more expensive, it becomes a problem. And when you've got an environment like this where commodity prices, global input costs are creating all manner of headaches for central banks, obviously a stronger dollar is making that dynamic
ranging, see, not doing anything yet. The key thing is, like I say, is wait for the RSI. Look,
path of least resistance.
keep watching that.
Both ends of the dollar smile are in play at the same
It's 30s dipping down again, so we've got no positions open. Waiting to see if we can sell on gold.
We've been talking about how there's a moment of calm. There's a sense of at least
30 now, look, official
reassess.
sell off, you see. Yeah, there's the big move. If you're scared about the open, you're seeing this wicking around. Look, here's the move now you could have taken. RSI is plummeting down. Yes, it's gone red. You know, that's the perfect kind of scenario.
To find optimism at a time where I cannot for one moment understand what it is that they're seeing. To me, the story for bullish equities of the last 18 months or 2 years, certainly post the pandemic, has really been about a number of tailwinds. Fiscal
Anymore,
tailwind, monetary
it's
policy,
our blue zone,
there is no alternative
bounces
to
back
equities.
up.
Tech stocks can generate you know, huge profits acyclically, and every single company can maintain these historically wide margins just further, you know.
Our breakout zone, you see, that's our breakout line now.
Away from owners of labour. All of those
bounce off that.
really seem to be now headwinds. Fiscal policy is a headwind, monetary policy is a headwind, treasury yields are now at 3%. There is an alternative, in spite of the fact that inflation is as high as it is. You know, what we're seeing is that that's hurting margins, that's hurting the consumer, which ultimately will feed back into the economy. So equities 20% off an all-time high, which, you know, had some of these pandemic stocks multiplying their share price by the order of 5 or 10 times. Getting back to where we were pre-pandemic, to me, still doesn't really reflect some of the huge underlying economic health problems that we face.
So, James, basically, are you hiding out in the triple leverage all cash fund with Tom?
Not quite. I see value in duration. You know, we've been happy to add duration into weakness. We're still running pretty big flatteners in the US yield curve because we still think that can work in both environments, right? The front end leads a sell off and the back end leads a rally. So we love the flattener. We have done since
Brilliant.
March
Right, yep, that was a good one. Jumped in there. Yeah, we've got two sells on that, 37 and 35.
We do love the dollar.
Another quick $100 on that. Five lots as normal. Five from
where the stagflation trade-off looks that really is going to be a selling opportunity for us.
Right, sells on US 30. Jumped in on that. Got out as it pulled back to.
We do think that central banks are mandated now to deal
breakout line. Hasn't broken that, so hopefully now we'll get a bounce. So stochastic's on green. RSI, is it going to pull back? Is it going to complete this? That was the beautiful second leg look in the end. I know it went against you here, but overall that's, you have to class that as continuation of that pattern. Are we going up now? Gold's still ranging, not doing anything yet. Look, stochastic's still red. RSI sat in the neutral above the line. Again, until that breaks, waiting to take a trade on that. Yet.
Still catching resistance right around that neutral pivot.
I just got out. There we go. What did I get there? $10.
Here in Davos, and she was talking
Yeah,
about
let's see.
how if you look at the underlying companies, there's a lot of momentum. So how do you parse those two at a time of so much angst?
I'm glad you bring this up. This is really, really important, folks. Out there somewhere is the bull case. And the bull case is corporations will adjust. The bull case is they will adapt. And if they get decent nominal GDP out, they can keep the shell game going. I'm not saying I agree with that.
Hold on a second.
Brilliant.
I think it's different. I disagree. I think the bull case is that the Fed blinks.
Okay, we've got three positions there on gold. Well, we're a little $4 one, but we won 22, 18, and 16 on that drop. Went 0.1 on those three sells, so I was waiting to take them. Jumped in and out. Caught an 11 cents loss on one of them, 5 positions, but overall, go. So, waited for that. Again, not going to hang around too much. Not got me extra out.
Well, coming up, we'll see if Michael Kushma agrees. Global Fixed
Income
CIO at Morgan Stanley. He does cover on fixed income.
Yeah.
At least.
Clear to drop a bit more, yeah. Jump back in, yeah. Look at US 30.
Back down to the 1854 area.
Yeah, US 30
wait for the
back
bounce
up.
back up.
The euro of $1.65, and then you've got that 10-year.
30 as well, look.
2.8%. This is Bloomberg.
30's buying.
Keeping you up to date with news from around the world with the first word, I'm Ritika Gupta. President Biden says he'll review Trump-era tariffs imposed on imports from China that led to the rally.
Hey, we've got a win on US 30. Brilliant. We've got 33.80 on that win on US 30.
But the president has come under pressure from some lawmakers and economists and the US Chamber of Commerce to reduce or eliminate them. China is trying to offset the heavy impact of coronavirus lockdowns on the economy. Beijing is offering more than $21 billion in tax relief to companies and consumers. The measure includes additional tax rebates to companies and cuts to passenger car purchases taxes. A Ukrainian court has sentenced a Russian soldier to
there, look, bouncing up. New zone, just jumped in on that. Got in early, I know. I pulled out before the RSI hit our average and back. I'll go again for a buy if that neutral goes green. Waiting for that. So we're just doing a quick half an hour, 15 more minutes. We've been scalping 15 minutes, and so far we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 trades with one loss. Loss was 11 cents. Not bad. See again.
Complicate efforts to expand the use of new safety and emissions reduction technologies. Global news 24 hours a day.
So getting close.
Powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries.
Now pulled back a little bit. Classic still red, pointing down. RSI still red. There's your next level, you see. I told you there was a level in points of in. If this create that beautiful W pattern.
Support levels, minor support at the 1854 area, like I told you.
Brilliant, and we just got taken out the trades on US 30. I took 2 more buys on that. Yeah, win 30. That's well. Gold's pushed down. Down to level again. Size. Cool. Yeah, we've got another 120 on 30. 2.
When you think space,
2 more sells. Sorry, buys.
One space agency that travels under the radar is ESA.
Look, nicely, look, just gone green. I wanted to see. Again, yeah, it was going to wait again for that to properly form. 40 seconds left on that before you take that. Ooh. Yeah, it's looking good.
If we want to have a successful human missions to Mars, we are going to have to learn to live and work off-world in a
Side 34. Yeah.
The place where we are going to learn
Plastic curling down. Well.
Can ESA help humanity take its next giant leap?
However you get your news. This is Bloomberg Daybreak with Lee. On Bloomberg Radio.
Welcome to Daybreak Australia. This is Bloomberg Technology. This is Bloomberg Green.
On TV, radio, and the web. This is Bloomberg.
Access the financial world on demand. Hear from leading economists, policymakers, and industry experts via live and on-demand webinars, only from Bloomberg.
There we go, there's the break. There's the break on US 30 I'm talking about. There's the move. Heavy resistance now, but it looks like it's going to smash that heavy resistance.
Imagine simply climbing a cable into space.
More money, brilliant, brilliant. Jumped in on the buy in US 30. We got another 31 and 15, so we got another 75. And that, this is true scalping. That's what it's about. In and out, no messing about. See the move, click, get in, get out.
We have the material, we have the technology, we have the lasers, we have the climbers, we have all of it. If a private entity wants to build it,
perfect. Right, we've even got a ball signal to help us as well.
We have no clue how colonizing into space, how really spreading out into space will really change our society over the next 50 to 200 years. It'll be completely different.
Oh, brilliant. And we got the sells on gold. Yes, that's rounded off perfectly. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Got in on those. Just watched all that break. And we got 35 and 34. So we got $100 on the gold. Drop just post that as well. That was a good one. I was in that trade probably like 30 seconds or so. And 2 sells. Gold. Beautiful. Like W forming. We were just waiting for the break and it happened. Jumped in. Got 2 trades away. RSI pointed down. Again, you can hold, but I've hit the blue level. You know, now I'm looking for that second leg. Like just, I just want to be waiting for that. Come back up and wait. unless it breaks this zone and we're coming down to heavy support, of course.
Chief Executive Officer of Credit Suisse, speaking with Bloomberg's
You down to here yet? You know, let's wait for.
That their house feels perhaps
Well pleased with that.
some turmoil as well. Although I will say,
wow.
I mean, how would you frame it?
I thought Francine was nice.
It's
you know, this is the
20 minutes of scalping.
in the halls of Davos.
We took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades on gold, on loss of 11 pence, and then we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 13 trades on US 30, all winning. That's it, that's great. That was from 3,600 we started on, and we're now 4,220.
Some of the risk on feel here. The 10-year
nice $600 on the open.
Underpinning some of the optimism.
Can't go wrong.
Yields higher, price down just a touch to 0.81%.
Our team is committed
nice
here at Davos
percentage
to keeping
increase.
you in touch with these absolutely historic markets. It has been just stunning. There's no other way to put it. So what we're going to do
Usually just look for 10%. Any more than that is a bit greedy.
Hugely qualified global fixed income CIO at Morgan Stanley. We could talk to him across all asset classes.
About 20.
Well, but Michael, I really want to focus on what I lived in the late 70s, which was a bond bear market. And that's nothing compared to what we're observing right now. Let's start with retail. What does retail do when they open the envelope at the end of May?
Well, we're seeing a bit of a contradiction between strength in overall retail sales, like we saw in April, the total data, and results of individual companies, which are struggling with higher costs. So I think people are spending money, but
£523
for companies, and they make less money. But it's not
about
like a lack of spending
$650
in the economy.
in 20 minutes. That'll do. That's from a £3,000 account. 3,600 I started on. I said 4,220 now. And that's it. You just stop trading. I mean, we've got great setups here. This is it. This is, you know, gold did brilliantly well. We just jumped in nicely on a beautiful pattern. It doesn't always happen like this. Usually with gold, you jump in, damn things ranging around. But when you see it, you know, it's just come for this nice double top, forming an M. You know, you're entitled to jump in on the centre bit if there's enough gap for pips. And now we've got the stochastic helping us give us the direction. Well, now waiting for the bounce. And the bounce off the blue zone. It might. US 30 has now gone skywards. Beautiful. So that was the move. So you had your NY open. All of the manipulation, continuation of the second, you know, second leg, whatever. And then your true move for the open is obviously this. We always say it can take 10 to 15 minutes for the true move. As soon as you got that bull signal, I was in. As soon as I saw it break our breakout zone, the whole idea that these signals you get once prices truly broke one of our zones.
And there goes gold.
Beautiful, look at that, yeah, ranging, pulled back, look at it, stochastic, curling up. Wait for this bigger break, go back and retest that new resistance.
At least a zero or positive real return, especially on corporate bonds. Where yields now, I know reasonably high quality corporate bonds are
breaking that trend line now.
Yeah.
So at this point, would you be buying duration? I mean, this is really one of the key questions right now as people question whether the Fed has the gumption to actually follow through on a rate hiking plan as set out.
I think that it's a premature
trend line break, baseline break. See if that bull signal sticks. And we'll be in for the buy.
A very sharp sell, but we couldn't stay there very long. Came right back down again, mostly on the back of equity weakness. But this is a good sign in the sense that government bonds and even high-quality corporate bond yields are coming down, even with spreads wider, that they can play a diversifying benefit. They're moving inversely to equities. They're a safe haven, and that's a big deal. So if equities will continue to be highly volatile and bond yields are actually behaving better now than they have in a long time, that would, I think, make people more comfortable that maybe I should own some more
2 minutes to
duration
go.
right now. But I do think we're in a bit of a lull right now, waiting for more information before we can really know what the trajectory of inflation is.
Right. Michael, do you assume in alternative investments...
US 30 now, blue zone forms. If you're in a buy, as soon as you see the blue zone, you know what to do. Get out the trade.
Or bond losses
If that
right
pull.
now?
I'm not sure about leverage, but private markets do benefit from a less aggressive mark-to-marketing thing. Daily mark-to-markets, more periodic, monthly, quarterly, however it may be, and it looks more stable over time. But in terms of credit markets, I think credit risk, which is happening in the investment grade or high yield market, is happening to private credit as well. It may just be obscured a bit by lack of transparency in terms of what's going on.
You're taking a sell, you get out when it a breakout line.
Suddenly rising or companies becoming much less credit
down lower, or is they're still kicking down?
The story is still a pretty stable credit story overall.
Michael Kushma of Morgan Stanley, thank you so much for that. Tom, I think that really the narrative of the day is to the extent that you're seeing a rally this morning, and to the extent that you're seeing
another 80 pips on that, 8 pips, got a 31.78 on that. Little sell. Again, just that gap was enough.
Change from before. It is a pause after a massive move, and people are reassessing in the slew of uncertainty. There is not a whole
just a little pullback.
This is it.
To borrow the phrase of
there's knowing when to get in and out. The dip was on. Be a full sell if we get a break below our breakout line, but we could be using this as a support level. Could be going higher.
Absolutely hammered. You know, you buy a bond, you clip a coupon like Bill Gross did starting out at Pacific Investment Management Company in a mailroom or whatever. How many coupons do you have to clip to get back from a 12% bond loss?
Not as
if gold just rejecting off that line, not pushing. And wanted to try and break that stochastic screen, but RSI just didn't want it. Not yet. It might still do.
Higher those financing costs are right now. If there isn't the credit risk, then how much does this really become the issue? The other
kind of a key level
theme that I really
it'll be a range center.
And really the question about
it wanting to retest the neutral resistance.
The world economy can remain if the dollar keeps it up. Today, perhaps we're getting a bit of a reprieve from that as well, with a little bit of softening there.
Sharon from New Zealand emailed.
Yes, retested our minor support again.
The first day in Davos is I have to read it, folks.
Digitized hair.
Living proof thickening mousse. Is that how you pronounce it, mousse?
It's called mousse. Yeah. I think that it would
living proof thickening mousse.
It would just all come up in one sheet, which would probably be
like I say, you shouldn't needed to wait the RSI to go green and for price action to break the trend line for it to be a true buy, and then we're up to our neutral resistance. We're just going to sit and wait.
We'll see. I'm Bloomberg and television and Bloomberg Radio. This is Bloomberg Surveillance from the World Economic Forum in Davos.
World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Rejecting off that line again, look. Everything's positive in Europe at the moment.
Give it time.
Yeah.
We are seeing
that pullback, 30 look, beautiful sell. Going to go red. Stochastic's red.
Markets shaped by the intentional and unforeseeable.
Gold, still round, sat on that support. Again, just got to wait. Waiting for the buy. Not a buy, we're going for a sell, but US 30's dropping. We want gold to rise.
With the potential for rich returns.
Wait again for the RSI to break the average line, come out there, go green, go red, sorry, you know, the stochastic is telling you, but want confirmation. Get it bouncing on here before shooting up higher, and you'll be here in losses. Wait.
can enter
Go back to
phrases
gold because gold looks a better setup at the moment.
What do you want to know today? Ask a question.
What do you
or
want to
visit
know
Search
today?
Go to find answers
No,
now.
right on that minor support.
Bouncing now. Here we go. Come on, bounce. Catch this bad boy for a bit. Come on, push. Flash then.
Pepsi's Number Fever campaign in the Philippines has probably gone down in history as one of the biggest marketing disasters in history, mainly because of a human error that led Pepsi to print more winning caps than they planned. The resulting
Yes.
chaos caused
There we go.
Here we go.
civil unrest.
Got in and I got out. Got 23, 15, 22 and 3. I went for 4 buys. Ooh.
To meet unlucky winners.
Got that leveraged going down to 200%, but took it. Now I'll wait again. Put them in early. Buys.
I'm a journalist.
Paid
Based
off.
in Los Angeles. I wrote the story for Bloomberg Business Week.
Now let's see if it's want to see price action break above our points of interest at 1856, and we want the RSI to be green, and then it's a proper buy, not what I just did there, which was a micro scalp buy, but a real buy. I couldn't resist looking at that action. Nice.
That's a break we're looking for right there.
Yeah.
Get ready for another buy up to neutral support.
Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola. In the 1990s, it was everywhere.
US 30, what's that doing? Oh, what a spike down, you see, that's what shifted it. Look at that, I said it would be a sell, and there it is. Look
Were
at that.
embroiled in what is now known as the Cola Wars. It was a fierce battle for market dominance. Number Fever was already a really popular promotion.
Let's see if this
It
pushes
rolled
down.
out in America to great success. And so Pepsi decided to roll it out internationally, particularly in Asia. They thought it was the answer to their problems. They thought it could finally help them beat their biggest competitor.
Gold, we're just waiting again, waiting for the next move. RSI needs to be right into that neutral zone. Plastic's going good. Want to be the way, so looking at you 30. Let's see if this is going to push down.
Like a lot now, but in 1992, that was a phenomenal amount of money. You've got to remember that in the Philippines at the time.
All right, 18. There we go. Bullish open. Trend line broke. New trend line reformed. And let's see if we can break our baseline after that.
And we're in and we're done on the sale on US 30. Excellent. I've got 27, 31, 25 and 8. Another 4 sales on US 30. Fantastic. Thanks to the RSI there.
And people were going through trash trying to find discarded bottle caps. It was a national phenomenon. Pepsi boasted that
That bear signal. Had to get in on that. Had to get on that bear signal. Yeah, I don't just rely on the signal, but everything else. Look at that. The stochastic was red. RSI was red. We got a nice gap going down to our next blue level. Everything. Everything lined up. Perfect.
Aides were being jailed for stealing their employers' winning bottle caps. There was even some murders over winning bottle caps. People were fighting in the streets.
Right now,
over
gold.
caps. There were signs that there were going to be problems with
Trying to break. Trying to break. Come on. Push on up. You're going to do it.
And a garbled fax had caused some kind of problem with the winning number. They'd announced the wrong one in Chile.
Got left 1 minute 36 left on that.
Signs that there could be big problems ahead if they didn't keep their eye on the ball. So in 1992,
Like it might stall out right there.
extend the campaign in the Philippines, and they announced that the competition would go on for a few more weeks. One night, on the television news, they announced the latest.
So we're now, the account is up to 4,400.
The problem was
3,600. So £800. So we're $1,000 in 30 minutes of trading.
Hundreds of
I think that'll do me.
Yeah. Close the laptop.
Wanted to catch this buy though. It looks so good, but yeah, you're right. So we'll start tomorrow morning with 4,400. Once it gets to 5,000, what I do, I tend to just take it all out and then drop back down again. That's the way I do it. Stick to the same lot sizes. Start again. 3.5 is about what? $4,500.
Hundreds of people started arriving at their bottling
$4,000.
lucky bottle caps. They realized something was seriously wrong. Pepsi tried to solve the problem by offering a small token donation to anyone that brought a lucky bottle cap to their bottling plant. But it wasn't enough. People didn't want just a handful of pesos. People wanted their million-peso prize. Within a year, violent protests and riots outside Pepsi factories would leave dozens
All wanted to break.
5 people dead. At one Pepsi factory,
You see his final move. This is about my last trades. RS, oh look at that, US 30, yeah, pulled up, bounced. You see, look again. Does it respect to the level? People have been saying, why has it gone back up again? Why isn't it continuing to go down? Well, look at the structure for starters, and also look at the fact that you've had the breakout line, the blue zone, for it to bounce off. It's still come back down now. You're selling at the top here, but you're not doing that while RSI is pointing up and in the neutral zone, waiting for it to go red again. Then you can sell this gap. Then you can get in again. Look at that. You've got more than enough. You've got 250 odd points there you can collect. Again, I just stick for 50 to 100 each time. Bang, bang, bang. That's it. I'm not bothered what. As long as there's enough gap there to cover spreads, or commissions, whatever. Then I'm in and I'm out. There you go. Look, pushing down. If this goes red, smash its head off that trend line and down. Guys, not stochastics nice and wide. Momentum. Gold waiting. Again, RSI is back in the neutral now. At least it's above the average line. Stochastic is still green. You just don't want to be buying yet until we've broken this level. 1 minute 20 left on this candle. See.
Pepsi was somehow involved in bombing their own trucks. I found a newspaper report with a headline that said Pepsi goons bomb their own trucks. And when I visited the MBI, the police department in the Philippines, they presented me with documents and interviews with people who claimed that Pepsi had paid them to cause riots and to cause trouble outside their plants in order to destabilize the situation and to frame the owners of the coalitions that were fighting them to try and curry favor. I just thought that was so shocking, and of course Pepsi denied it, but how bizarre that a company would be accused of bombing their own trucks.
Go another there's no news today, like we said. We had the Cargo Fed Activity Index on 30, US 30. News was better than expected. US 30 went reverse. All at the top. It went with the news. I just wasn't around to trade it, but that taking the sell. News came out. Look, got yourself a nice easy 10 pips on that new. But we tend to find the US 30 goes reverse on news events or the market. Not always, but a big percentage of the time. Did on that occasion there. And again, you would have waited for the RSI. As soon as you saw the news event coming out, thinking, hey, I'm taking a buy, you see the RSI go red. So stochastic go red and RSI point down, then you jump. As soon as you get some profit, get out. It's 30 now. See, look, I was right. I could have taken that trade while we're talking away. It hit its head on that trend line and it's bounced down nicely. So it was a continuation. You know, even though you might have got scared and gone, oh no, I'm wrong in the trade, just look around you. And now all the zones has disappeared and it's on the breakout zone. breaks this zone, then we can scalp down to our next blue zone. Spikes down.
Gold's finally looking up.
He flew to America and he hired two consumer lawyers here in America to take on Pepsi.
There we go. Up and away.
Pepsi's headquarters to try and resolve the problem.
Yep, we're done. There you go. I got away 7 trades there. All done. Beautiful. I took the sells on US 30 and the buys on gold. We got 30, 20, 31, 11, 6, and 27. Sorry, 5, 11, 31, 16, 29. So that's going to do me. That's the move I wanted. Thanks for the heads up. And that's on that gold.
Pepsi did not take kindly to Del Fiero's campaign. They tried everything to shut him down. They sued him for libel.
So that sell came off nicely. Took that because there was a gap going down to our breakout line. So got on that and RSI red. Gold, there you go, looks spiked up nicely. Not a true move yet, but enough to scalp itself. $50 to $100, look, that move. Stochastic is now red. I saw that on my other chart, that's why I got out. And again, this will be a buy. If that goes green and we get green on the RSI, then we're looking to buy. So, got in early on that one. I know a dangerous trade, but movement looked right. Took my account to 4.5. 4.5, so that's 900. We're doing well.
When I reached out to Pepsi for comment for this story, they claimed that they didn't have access to anyone who was working at Pepsi that was around in those days.
Start tomorrow.
COVID-19, they didn't have access to their documents about this, but
great. So
you know, they were very careful to.
Again, just wait now. You know, lunacy to buy because it's okay. It's broke the trend line, but you can still come down and retest the trend line and our minor support above the baseline. The RSI, you know, it's not having it yet, and stochastic is red. So you know, wait for it all to line up. That's all you've got to do. It's the massive waiting game. Is wait for it all to line up, then take the trade. Up to you what you want to work out as your take profit and stop loss. Like I say, I don't tend to give too much advice on that. I'm not a financial advisor. I get in, get out, take the green and go. But you've got our system here to help you gauge where a profit might be and where the stop loss is. I've gone over that many times and we go over that inside the group. But that is each individual's personal risk and depends on your account size.
Said this many times. 10% analysis, 80% waiting, 10% trading.
Yes. Waiting, and this is on a 3-minute time frame, so why people get so scared about, oh, scalping, it's too quick for me, I can't get my head around it, I've got to watch the charts all day. Well, we've traded 45 minutes and that's it. I traded half an hour this morning. I got up late, still traded the Euro Open, had a snooze, went and traded the London Open, and that was it, and finished by half an hour after. So the whole trading days took up no more than 2 hours of my time. And here we are in good profit. So, you know, not every day is like this, of course, not typical, but more often than not, this is what we try and aim for. We try and aim to get our target level of take profit done within just, you know, half an hour of any of the opens. Whole idea about scalping. You know, we hang around on the charts because we're teaching, we're training, we're mentoring people, and we're doing YouTube, you know, a Discord channel, and that's why around longer than we would if we didn't have any of that. Literally, I'd be done with, like I say, probably an hour and a half combined total trading, and that's it. the whole idea about trying to give people freedom. You don't have to be looking at the charts all day. Want to, fine, but you don't have to.
And people were scared that throughout the city in Dortmund there was more attacks to be happening. Unbeknownst to investigators,
Gold 1855.
Let's have trouble around 1857. I'm watching it. Spikes up, breaks 1856, gets to 1857, pulls back up.
That looked like it was it. That spike up that I won on, that looked like it was going to be it. But at the same time that went up, stochastic went red, and you went, okay, a little bit of steam. It has.
Safety net.
Dortmund is a mid-sized city in the western part of...
I like the way these are tuned to work together. Neil's done a great job on coding this system for our specific style of scalping.
Perfect. And we've got updates coming to the blue zones and the points of interest as well for all members of the coming soon.
My name is Ike Henning. I'm a reporter with Bloomberg News and I'm a great fan of Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund fans are super loyal. On all match days, the entire city is in black and yellow. It's like a religion. I think more than most German cities, soccer does play a very large role in the identity of Dortmund. In October of 2000, the BVB became the first team in the Bundesliga to actually...
Let's see what we've got tomorrow. We're waiting for goals, see if we get anything in the last few minutes. Today was lackluster. The IFO was, I don't like trading that one anyway. I don't like trading any German news that's after the Open now. Kind of always goes the opposite way. Which you, I mean, if you watch it and watch the RSI, you'll trade it, but just news before the Open's pretty good. It was kind of seen that. Yeah, I mean, DAX one was 9 o'clock. Nice move now. Look, it's trying to break again. DAX was 9. That was the iPhone news. And it had a little spike up. Really, a sell. There was where the news came out. If you caught that, bang, which we did. And then we thought it would go high and it didn't put out the trades. And then it obviously just the bear. I jumped in when I got about a bear signal there down to. That was a good. See, that's what DAX does. It does the moves end of Asian and Euro, and then does the moves in London, and then this is what happens. By lunchtime, it's just a bit of a mess. You can scalp this, but not as positive as these big moves you get on the Open. It's 30 now. Looking back up.
The bus took off the parking lot of the hotel and turned on the street. There were 3.
There's your indecision candle. Beautiful example of that. Look. Sell gets weaker and weaker. Then you get indecision. What's going to happen? That's where I took my final buys. Then it's broke our breakout zone. You could have bought again then, and just get out of the blue zone again. Don't be stupid. Don't hold. Again, there's 25 pips or so. Take the money and get out. RSI is now green, stochastic's pointing up. The only thing stopping you entering a trade is that blue zone. And that's what it's there for, to stop you making a mistake, because retest. We don't know if we're going to get a bounce down or we'll break through when it's time. Oh, gold is on the move again. I'm going to do it this time. It's going to be the move.
Still having trouble. 1856 and a half to 1857.
Yeah.
And watching the price action inside that candle, you can see it.
Sign needs to be green. Stochastic's gone back to being green.
Yeah, it's just stupid high.
Attacks by Islamic terrorists in Germany and Europe. There was widespread suspicion in the media that this was another Islamic terror attack. 3 letters were found at the site of the bombing that took credit for the attack on behalf of Islamic.
It's trying to push back up there.
Reasons to doubt this particular narrative.
Would actually be a surprise
if ISIS
1 minute left on this candle.
Part of this attack possibly could be employed by other groups like the far right wing to try and shift the blame.
The letters had some strange
Lined up nicely.
They were written in a strange
Got a nice
German that used big sophisticated
50
words,
pips maybe.
but had basic grammar mistakes.
Careful that
One
neutral
was
resistance.
a German speaker but pretending to be
That'd be your take profit zone. If you're catching it up that way.
I've just shut down broker, so I'm all done. So I'm not tempted. Yeah, look, there's the trade. Beautiful.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah.
Kind
of move you want to see.
Noticed that something strange was going on the stock market related to the team's shares.
I'm going to go test the neutral zone now.
See if we have that same momentum in that candle that's fixing to open up.
RSI's green, Stochastic's green. High.
There it goes. Whoop.
Why would someone buy that ahead of a match and then
Nice to watch.
3 bombs go off? Something isn't right here.
For the person to make money off of that, it required the stock to go down quite a bit in a fairly short period of time. And it wouldn't just be the team losing a match, it would require something much bigger than that.
Brilliant. Managed to get back in. There you go. Look at the cloud. I got 3. I got 21, 20, and 28. 12 and 12. So buys and gold. And let's just reopen. And my last trades. Too good to be true, that. Good one.
That's why I trade gold.
Beautiful. Well, it's took us to 4,571. The start of 3,6. So almost 1,008. So too many extra trades. But that was, I mean, it's all about the setup. We were waiting for this push. Waiting. All you had to do was wait. We just, while the stream's been on, we've just had a range here for the past, 45 minutes. Basically, we'd said when everything syncs together, go for it. And that's your perfect entry. Stochastic is open, green pointing up. RSI's green above the neutral zone. Candlestick is finished nice and clearly above points of interest with nothing in its way. Blue zone disappeared, and that's as good as it gets. That's as gets a trade. You just look for this setup every single time, you will be profitable.
And it happens multiple times a day.
Human nature, jumping in too early, ending trades too early, all the rest of that causes you to lose. It skews that.
We now know that the suspect bought 3 different derivatives on the Borussia Dortmund shares. With all these derivatives, he bet on falling shares. The suspect bought the majority of these financial products on the 11th of April, the day of the attack.
If the plot had been completely successful and the stock had reached a value of 0, Intergold would have made up to 5.
I'll be back on later in the room to do a bit of a lesson if anyone's around. That's what you get access to if you join our group. Remember, go to www.mohawkforex.com. Information on how to join our team and get me and Justin as your mentors. Neil.
I may join because I think I need a lesson.
Yeah. Okay. And get access to the Axe trading system that you only get access to as long as you're a member of the group. So this is a nice move on gold. Look, it's so you have to wait for, and it's up to you. What I got out with like $60. That's enough for me. If you want to hold, you can hold. The closer it gets to that neutral resistance, the more chance you have of pulling back. You can run 2 trades, and we know how to do it. You can run 2 trades and take profit, take partial profits. Let another one run till it hits the blue zone. It's totally up to you. That's one thing. That's your own risk management. Is your own risk. I just show you how I do it. That's perfect. Look at that TP. Perfect on the neutral resistance back. So this is where you should be profit if you were holding.
Rebecca troubled home life. She ultimately sees her
Just
relationship
slower than normal. Like I said, we're waiting on that Fed speech coming up. Matter of fact, should be about 5 minutes time.
a Russian immigrant to Germany. He speaks with an
I was asking about the Indian market. What, the Nifty 50?
Mm-hmm.
begins to resent the fact that he has these
Because
fears and feels a little bit trapped. Rebecca attempts to dump him on multiple occasions, and he threatens to commit suicide if she leaves him. Vaynergold apparently told Rebecca that she would soon be seeing a surprise. After being dumped via text message, he apparently began planning for this attack in earnest.
Nifty 50.
Was charged with 28 counts of attempted murder, which carried a maximum sentence in Germany of life in prison. He claimed that he had nothing to do with
Nifty 50.
As time went on, he admitted that he had actually been the person who had built the explosives and had set them off. But he claimed that he didn't want to actually kill anybody. Ultimately, Vaynergold didn't receive the harshest possible sentence. He was given 14 years in prison, but it's still
There's your Nifty 50.
Can you trade that on your broker? Oh, it's the index.
You'll be able to.
I don't think I can trade that through LQDFX. I'm going to have to look.
Quite good. Look at that. That was London opened, a bit rangy. Popped back, but that bear signal. Very nice. Continuous sell. This was USA.
I don't have that through LPDFX. All I've got's a Euro stocks 50.
The threat of an asteroid hitting Earth is very real. If it's big enough, it's also very final.
These are very, very infrequent events. The probability is not zero, though.
A blinding flash of light streaking across the sky.
About 100 tons of space rock falls on Earth every day. Most of it is so small it burns up in our atmosphere or lands unnoticed away from
Nifty 50. Like, look, there was the breakout zone. Look at it. As soon as you break the breakout zone, you get the bear signal. Boom. Oh. So, I traded this and I got the pit. Oh, it's pretty good, look.
However, one thing is certain. We haven't found them all.
There are thousands out there, and we don't know where they are.
Oh, I see market.
There are a lot of asteroids in our solar system. They number in the
It's not on LPDFX.
Italian 40, S35.
And deflecting the most catastrophic of natural disasters.
The race is on to find as many of these objects as we can.
There's a way of calculating whether or not an asteroid is potentially dangerous or not.
I mean, I think it's something worth investing in. It's our existence at stake, right?
Only 50 I've got on one, Euro stocks 50 and the Hang Seng.
Amy, let's get this one out of the way.
Loads on IC markets, but I don't know what they're ticking.
How scared should we be?
Asteroids and comets are a natural hazard that's out there like a lot of other natural hazards.
Tax 60.
These are very, very infrequent events, these collision events, where
Tech.
the object actually impacts the Earth. The most important thing that we need to know about asteroids is, when the next impact is
South
going
Africa.
to happen and how bad it
Sweden.
What we know is that an object that's about, say, a kilometer across is capable of causing very, very wide devastation across the planet, really, truly global devastation. The object that wiped out the dinosaurs was somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 kilometers across, so even bigger than that. At a kilometer, it's still going to be very bad and will have global effects.
Oxford.
For objects that are capable of causing what I would call sort of
Maybe they haven't got.
kind of a large major metropolitan area,
But whatever, that's a good move, and you can use obviously axe on it. Obviously, it works. You can see here, look, could have got in on example, got in on a sell with RSI, stochastic, so you on that bear signal there, had the entry, bright red there, and you can there. No, stochastic's gone green, but I would have still gone in, nipped it in and out, and then I'd have waited here. And once I see you go red again, I would have gone again. That signal there, drop down. Could have gone again. Again. Have to work out how many pips thing, but all move, look. 200. That's Nifty 50. So yeah, obviously Axe does work that. If that's your trade, the Indian stock, it looks quite smooth. Nice moves, look at that. Asian session. Again, all the stock markets went up, recouping their losses from Friday. Ranging around a little bit, and then, you know, gets into London. Obviously, probably is not the best time to trade it, and then obviously comes to New York and bang, here we go. I hope that helps. But definitely, you know, and you've got neutral support coming, so if you're in a sell, you'll be getting out of the trade soon.
I need to do some research to see who allows you to trade the 50 index.
Yeah, it's popular. I know a lot of people trade it, but I don't, we might have to have another broker that trades it. Not an IC market. Some reason. Oh, nice break on US 30 now. Look, up and away. Broke that zone. Beautiful.
We can now start to make predictions about its true size. Is it large or is it small? So we have a lot of information that we have to get pretty quickly to really understand what's going on.
Finding asteroids is just one piece of the puzzle. Planetary scientists are extremely skilled in determining the orbits and speeds.
Right, well, we'll have a quick one thing. I'll look at gold. Gold, well, that was a weak second leg, wasn't it? It kind of did it did what we said. We said it would. It was the neutral resistance. This is the key zone with that blue line. Neutral resistance is your danger zone. Also, it's a good zone because it tells you this is where I should be ending my trade, or this is where price is probably going to reverse. Or if it breaks it, then we're going higher. You know, so don't. And I keep saying it's a danger zone, but only if you're silly enough to take a buy at the top there, pushing against it. Then of course you could never do that. But even though it's a danger zone, it's actually nice to see, because I knew when I took that trade, oh, I'm only going to go as far as here and I'll get out safely, you know, and now it's reversed. And if we'd been watching, we could have actually gone in on a sell. Cheeky little reverse. Red.
Also got a historical blue zone right there at the neutral pivot too, which identified your take profit area if you're taking that buy up. Like, we knew that was going to be an area of high resistance.
Yeah. So now we'll wait for the next buy. So we're retesting that same support zone. We tested it 1, 2, 3 times now. So now is price actually going to say, yeah, I've had enough of this, we're coming down 1852 and down to 1850, or we're going to get a severe bounce. Actually does take us past the neutral resistance. What gold's got to decide. Until then, keep selling, man. That would be a nice little cheeky sell now, just down to that blue zone. Be in and out quick. I'll wait for the next one.
There's been a lot of sell momentum since New York Open, not New York Cash Open, New York regular Open at 8.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of momentum in the sales. As you can see with those last 2 candles, we pushed back down all the gain that we had. We pushed all the way back down to that support zone. So, time to wait and see.
Yeah. Right, and on that note, well, thank you again for joining. We've had a successful session. Thanks for Justin for joining me. And
always.
We were just looking what tomorrow's going to bring. Tomorrow we have got loads of news. We got plenty of German news to look at. I know it's just after the Open, so we'll check that. We will as well. The UK one, we'll have a quick look at that, but then mostly we're going to be trading the market PMIs tomorrow, manufacturing, composite, services, and new home sales. And then we've got Fed, Powell's speaking as well. So and then we've got the crude oil late at night. So tomorrow is a really good day for trading fundamentals, getting some catalysts for movement in the market. So back live tomorrow. Look out for the live stream and the link and everything. Join me, subscribe, hit that like button, and until then, trade safe everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow on the next live stream. Thanks, Justin.
Sir, stay well. Cheers, guys. Trade safe.